build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Oh, well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. This is episode 132. I'm Matty, joined tonight by Leon. How you doing, mate?
Aye, no bad, mate. Thanks. How are you?
Good. Yeah, just was talking about on the big Hibs podcast just before we came on. You've got Hibs talk. You've got strong opinion Hibs. You've got obviously the boys down the slope. That you wouldn't want to miss out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the missus says, "What about Longbangers?" I went, "Who are Longbangers?" Anyway, right. Also got Colin on the night. That was a wee in-joke there, Colin. You've obviously paid attention to the social media of the night on Hibs. Have you?
Aye. Oh, yeah, is that what that's for?
Did you get the joke there right now?
Right, because I'm sitting there going, I've missed something here.
Everyone's going, what the fuck's he talking about?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing tonight anyway?
I'm all right, aye. I was mere thinking, you missed it, the Hibs.net one. But then, there you go.
Because I was thinking on the spot, I can't do that very well.
I'm good. Manic night, but I'm back home. I had my dinner and I'm sitting down, so I'm all right.
Decent. Right, so quite a lot to get through tonight. We'll start off with the signing news that was referring to there, which was Dimitri Mitchell signing. So former Man United player and Blackpool. I can't know if he played for anybody else, but that's kind of the main ones.
It said in the article that he was on loan to Scottish Premiership sides, I think it said.
Right.
But I don't know who they were because it doesn't say in the article.
Do you remember him playing in the Scottish Premiership?
No. I remember his face, and I think it's probably because of the stuff that they've tried to address in that video, or they have addressed in that video.
Aye.
But I can't remember him playing at all. But then I don't know if he was in the league at the same time as when he was at Hearts.
I think he played against us. In all seriousness, I think he was 2 spells there. From what I remember, I think he picked up quite a nasty injury. But I seem to remember him being all right, like a decent player. Hearts fans quite liked him, I think, initially. They're not like him now, obviously, but I think to start off with, maybe less successful in his second spell. Do you remember him, Liam?
A wee bit, aye. I mean, there was a few angry about getting the piss on because there was some lad there that had a cockeye that looked a bit like him, so I mean that flying about. But that's about as much as I remember. I mean, to be fair, I remember when he got it because I'm sure he either missed the derby or there was an injury happened to him the first time. And I mean, the Hearts fans were absolutely gutted. And I can't remember if he missed the derby because of it or if it was just because he had got an injury. But yeah, I think he started off flying. I think he'd done really well in that. And then he had an injury. And then he sort of just fell away a bit. But the Hearts fans used to rave about him. They did when he was there. They'll not admit that now, obviously. Oh. But they definitely liked him as a player, I think. But I just don't know. It's a bit. I don't know where he's been playing because I'm sure he was like left back. I can't see us bring him in as a left back with having Stevenson and Doig. So don't know. It's weird, Jim.
We didn't really play a left back now in this formation, though. We play a left midfielder that covers the whole left hand side, really.
Yeah.
I think he was playing further forward at Blackpool. I think he was playing more at a winger, as well. And he's rapid. He's rapid, fast, like.
He's still quite young as well. Like I thought he was probably older than he is. But he's still early 20s, I think, which is quite a good time to get him. I remember that it's hard though, Ken, when the Hearts fans go on about players. I mean, he fucking went on about Harry Cochrane. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to get a gauge of whether a player's good if a Hearts fan's enthusing about him.
And you know,
they've not got a fucking clue.
Without the sort of reverting to sort of the stereotypes that you probably created about them, but if they get somebody that's got a bit of attacking flair about them, they're like, fucking hell. Because there's no
lump in the water.
It's normally a centre half or somebody that they're raving about and bumping up, or a defensive midfielder like Haring. You know what I mean? Somebody like that that's doing the dirty work rather than somebody that's maybe, I suppose like Barry Mackay's doing for them now, creating goals and that.
A wee bit about them. We're interested to see how he gets on. His wee video was good though, like, did you? Got a good way to face up to it, I think, rather than try to pretending it never happened. Was it somebody signed for Spurs did the same thing, or Arsenal? Was
it maybe that Docherty that played with us?
Aye, it was Docherty. It was when he signed for Spurs. he did the same thing, didn't he? When he kind of read out his social media tweets and stuff.
There's all bad shit about the Tottenham and that. So,
aye.
What's a cricket man, eh? He's like an Arsenal fan or something.
Aye, he is a big Arsenal fan.
Aye.
Just a big
he's a fucking wanker.
What a dick, eh? Like, how can you do it once and then go away and do it again another time?
Aye.
What a fanny.
Aye. So that's one in, one out. Martin Boyle left last week. Was it a week ago? It was last week. We're on Monday.
It's Friday, wasn't it?
Aye. So a reported £3 million. Colin, good deal, bad deal? Would you think?
It's not. So it's good and bad, isn't it? Because it's a good deal. We spoke. I think Leon was on maybe last week or a fortnight ago, and we said $3 million's probably about right. Probably about the top what you'd get for somebody that's 28-year-old. That is probably at the peak at the moment. You know, they're only going to get slower, and that is his main attribute. So, to that point, it's a good deal. But he is, I think I read earlier on, was it something like 14 goals this season, and or 15 last season, 14 this season, plus all the assists. It's a big chunk of your team for that point of view. So that's the bad side. It's good and bad. It's a good amount of money. Good for him to get the money. I don't care, like he's earning all the money. Good for him, but it doesn't affect Hibs. Affecting Hibs is we're not getting 30 goals over 2 seasons.
Your thoughts on it, Leon?
Aye, same, to be honest. It's like, I think there used to be loads of stuff getting chucked about like how influential he was, and there was that stat about, I think, when he scores, we've only lost on the odd occasion, and it's a massive thing that it's a great deal for the club, like financially. I think looking at where they came from, how they've trained them for, like, mind when they first came for Dundee, he was rapid, but I'd fucking mad about him. Kenny was like, it was like that fucking Alan O'Brien and all that. It was just like fucking straight lines, running and get the ball down, and he'd fucking put the ball for a wide kick. And the levels that he's, and hats off to him, the levels that he's got to, he's outstanding. Signing that new deal, getting rid of the £500,000 clause that Aberdeen tried to fucking nick for £500,000 without caring the fine print of the deal, obviously, because it had to be somebody outside to Scotland. Stupid cunts. And I think, it's brilliant. Hats off to him. He'll make a fortune. He said, obviously, it's no goodbye, it's see you soon. So I've got every 100% believe he'll be back at Hibs in a couple of years' time. I think he's got loads of ties to the club now. We'll not replace him directly, as a single player, unless we pulled somebody, unless it's like this young laddie that is obviously maybe a project, this Mikkelsen or whatever his name is, unless he's got to start banging in 20 goals a season or something, you know what I mean? Because of what he offers you, what Boyle offered you with the assists, no the fucking pre-assists, but getting the ball into the areas where the goals come from as well as the assists and the goals. He's got to be a massive, massive miss on the park, but financially, fucking brilliant deal. Brilliant.
So I think we had him for 7.5 years. I think that was. You look at initially swapped for Alex Harris, and then that deal, so his loan ended, and then Hibs went and signed him permanently after that. Brilliant bit of business all in. If you think like you said, the improvement he made, probably the most improved player I've seen at Hibs since obviously McGinn had in a couple of seasons went from like a good level to an elite level. But Boyle over that 7 years has just been what a shift. And it's been interesting. You see, he went with pretty much universal good wishes. The Hibs fans as well. So obviously was held in high regard by all the Hibs as well.
Yeah,
the
young laddies probably Leon there. Sorry, mate. Are calling him a snake and all that kind of stuff. According to my daughter at school, like, including one former Hibs player who left on a Bosman. By the way, I did point her right on that one. Bob, the son of a Hibs player that left us on a Bosman, calling it Martin Boyle a snake. Right, tell your dad. Aye.
Okay, well, we'll look back on the Cove Rangers game. So last Thursday, Scottish Cup. Probably fair to say didn't go to plan, Leon. What were your thoughts on the game?
Mate, it's fucking. It was a different. It's funny because I think we offered goal. We did offer goal because we'll all talk about it. But the offside goal that wasn't given, it was onside. Things like that. I mean, it could have just been Hibs 1-2-0. got the job done in 90 minutes, back up the road, whatever. But obviously dragging it in extra time and then all the crap after it, sports scene and all that, talking about fucking Cove Rangers, what a performance they put in, a shift and all that. They had a couple of half chances in that. I mean, fucking Hibs were on top of the game, but we just couldn't get that finishing touch in it. And but it was fucking it was hard. It was a hard watch at times. It was. I think the weather helped. The attendance never helped. You came what it's like. The atmosphere sort of like, if it's a big game midweek and there's a big atmosphere, it sort of carries the players a bit and it gets the fans up for it. But when you're sitting in there and it's the attendance isn't great and it's freezing cold, you're not up for it before the game's kicked off. So that's half the fucking battle, eh?
I'd got a ticket just on my own, so my son couldn't make it. He had an SFA course that he was doing, so he couldn't make it. My old man's not going to the games now because of COVID. So I just bought a ticket on my own, West Lower, and I was speaking to John, and he said he'd got a ticket himself in the East. So I was doing quite early. So I went to the ticket office, and John would tell us where his seat was, right? So JJ2 up in the East stand he was, right? So I went to the ticket office and said, I've got a ticket in the West, can I swap it over for the seat closest, as close as I get to the JJ2. So the woman's like, didn't bother. She went to the computer. She says, HH7. I thought, that'll do. That's fine. And I thought, we're not sold out, so we'll be able to move two together. So anyway, I don't care if you've been that high up in the East before, but it's like second back row is where HH is. But the row directly behind it is JJ. And I came out as an aye. Like what's happened to that row? So that was the first thing. It was like, the fuck. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I get up, and there was a boy and his laddie behind us, and then not a soul. Like it was just emptiness. I go, right up to kickoff. So John came up just as the game kicked off and just sat down beside me. I was thinking, how could I not get a ticket right beside him? Like how is this the closest I could have got when there's not a soul here?
That's weird. It's the same for League Gatewell. When we've tried to buy a ticket for my eldest when she's back for uni, next to us, because there's nobody sits in a row in the West Upper ever. And so apart from the Rangers game, where we thought that's two Rangers fans, there must be, because I've never seen them before. And then they left at half time, so I think they clocked it. But that row, never. You go on online, never a seat available. Nobody ever sits there. It's weird. It's like, aye, but then that could be season ticket holders, whereas that's not the deal on Thursday night. So I think any of the systems work in that office. Like,
didn't matter anyway. We sat together. But our plan was to move if we couldn't sit together. A cracking view, though, I have to say. We were right up in the corners, almost on the goal line at the famous 5 end.
I was going to say it's right at one end.
The view was fantastic, though. What did you think of the starting lineup, Colin?
Sorry.
That's right.
I thought it's a bit strange. I'm a bit worried that he's kind of welded to a system over who's available. I think Halberg done all right. Like, I think he'd done a decent job, and it's probably good. Probably got away with it in that game because they weren't that attack, and they're lower league players still at the moment. Having a midfielder in there, because I spoke about it, defenders aren't as comfortable on the ball as a midfielder. Yeah. That's just the way it is, and the way he's wanting them to play, it's good to have a midfielder type in there. I mean, Boozy played once against Big Rangers. Was it 3-3 or 2-2 at the end of the season game?
Aye.
He played sweeper, and it was quality. And obviously, like, good football players can go back, and as good midfielders can drop back because they get older and that. So you can get away with it, but I think it just showed that he was maybe, this is the system I'm playing. Doesn't matter who's fucking fit. I'll just play like a squaring around hole sort of thing.
Had a wee bit do you mind you say the Lennon lottery where sometimes you just like kind of pick the team out of a hat by the look at it. I had a wee feel like that. You could have gone, looking at it, but even like with the subs, so he ended up with Josh Campbell playing at centre half. And by the end of the game, he dropped right back to the defensive positions.
And I don't know if that's like a sign he's wanting better players at the centre half or better footballers, like not better players, but better footballers rather than defenders. I don't know, but it's like you think if we've not got any centre halves available, or we've got one centre half available, why are you playing 3 centre halves at the back? Because Stevenson started as well. So you're playing a full back, a centre half, and a midfielder in the 3 centre half positions. It's like if we've not got them, maybe
change the system a bit.
I don't know, but I know he's trying to. But then it's maybe too like he's only in 4 games in, and he's trying to change a formation. But surely we're not. Surely we have to change formations during the season as well. Like you're not just going to say 3-4-3 all the time. You know, it's. So I don't know. So I was a wee bit, but I thought Halberg done all right as it turned out in the end. They never had any real threat. Good, decent side. Like I did think it would be close. I said it on here last week. I think I said 1-1 and 2-1 after extra time or something. So I wasn't far away. But you look at it and you've got what, Fivey, Mark Reynolds, Megginson, McAllister. So this is your top strikers that are in part-time football, right? They play part-time football because they've got a better job outside football. That they can't afford to go full time. But Fivey and Reynolds could still play in the Premier League at the bottom half, no doubt. So they've got a decent squad, a decent manager. Didn't it look like? I didn't ever feel like we were going to get beat watching the game, but I think they deserve to get the plaudits they got because they came and done the job they were coming to do. They were thinking. Didn't let them score, and we might get a cross in the box or a corner, because that's where we've been weak all season. You can imagine that was the thing. They've got 2 strikers on there. Actually, I think they maybe they changed the formation to play against the 3, like our 3, because they've seen it and thought, "Fuck, he is playing Halberg at centre half," because that's what we were chatting about. That were like, "What's the formation? Is it Halberg at centre half or no?" I'm sure Hartley was sitting saying the same, and then when he realised that, he went fucking fired 3 of them up so that the midfielders having to actually defend as a defender. But aye, they've got boys that could do a job in the Premier League, and they showed that. And we weren't firing, but didn't feel like we were going to get beat. I mean, didn't they?
Yeah. And we had 2 debutants as well, Leon. So first of all, we'll talk about Ewan Henderson. How do you think he got on?
I thought he done all right. I thought he looked quite sharp when he was on the ball. And he looked like he was trying to get going forward and everything. I was quite impressed with him. I was seen a few folk thought he never done that well, but I thought he done really well. I thought he looked all right, and it was good to finally see him in the flesh again and see the sort of where you can see they want to play him a bit. He's going to be the one trying to get forward and create things in that. He looked quite nippy in the boot when he was on the ball and moving the ball about and that. So I was quite impressed with him.
Do you think, Colin?
I thought he looked all right. I thought he was good. He's not played a lot of football ever, but he's certainly not played a lot of football recently. So he's got to take a few games to find his touch, and it'll be probably a faster pace than he's used to, because when maybe not. He's not played much for Celtic, has he? So, but at Ross County at St. Who was the other one he went on loan?
Wraith, I think. Was it?
Wraith, was it? So that's obviously lower level stuff. I think Ross County were in the Championship when he was there as well. So it'll take him a bit of time to find his feet. But I didn't think he looked that bad. I think he looked all right. Looks like he's promising. That's what I would probably say. Certainly wasn't outstanding, but promising.
I would probably agree with that. I thought he was all right. Yeah, that's. I thought he looked short of games. But then the contrast that was Mueller, was the other player making his debut, who I thought was really good. And even though he's had not that many games, I thought he looked quite sharp. What did you make of Mueller's performance, Liam?
Really, he was a star on the night, wasn't he? He was miles. He looked miles ahead of everyone on the other side. I thought brilliant touch, really sharp, really close control on pass fucking that. He could easily have a goal. He could have an assist. Again, I reckon. He was brilliant. I think on that performance, I know it was against Cove, but again, they're not a bad side. There's every chance that. Not that Cove side itself, there's every chance that Cove side could be in the Premier League in a couple of years. They're going to the Championship next season. Again, they're a good side. But he, I was really impressed with him, because we also had that wee bit wonder about how good he could be coming from MLS and that. And I'm not like a fucking football snob and that. We get Scottish football fans get chucked at them all the time about their league being shit and that. So I'm not going to do it to that league. Get what I mean? But you want to share about the pace of it, and there was that a wee bit of rumour about he played a bounce game and he was all fit quite a bit with the speed of the game. But honestly, I was well impressed with what I seen, what I was expecting. I think he'll do a really good job for us. I really do.
What were you, Colin? What were your first impressions of Mueller?
So I wasn't at the game. I watched it on the telly, and I've obviously missed quite a lot of stuff that you've seen, like off the ball stuff and all that, because I thought he was all right as well. Like I didn't think he's probably a wee bit better than Henderson, but I didn't think he was outstanding. I didn't even think he was man of the match. I thought Chris Cadden was man of the match, but I appreciate I was watching it on the telly, and you get to see what you get to see when you're watching it on TV. So
I'd agree with the thing with Cadden, to be fair. I'd agree with that. Cadden was the best player in the part, like I'll agree with that. Like.
But what I do remember, negative, and the negative was Fraser Fyvie showing him a fucking clean pair of heels. That was mental. And you think, what happened there? But he had I think he had a chance, didn't he? Cut inside and kind of got the shot away. That was a nice bit of play before the shot. I thought he looked good, but again, I thought he looked short of games. But as I say, when you're watching on the telly, you're not seeing all the maybe the clever play that he done, because for TV he was good, but not brilliant. But I appreciate that I wasn't at the game, and everybody I've spoken to that was at the game was raving about him. So
I thought his first involvement was to kind of start off an attack on the right hand side. There's like a nice wee touch, link up with Cadden, and set us going forward, and that sort of set the tone for his evening. I was impressed most probably with his attitude, because, like you say, for it to be his debut against a weird team in front of like 5,000 and whatever fans, it would have been probably quite easy to just kind of coast through the game, if you like. Because there were players there that I think were quite comfortable with it. They weren't stretching themselves as much as they could have done, but I thought he put everything into the game, and by the end of the time he went off, he looked fucking knackered. We could definitely put a shift in. Colin, you mentioned Cadden. What made you think he was man of the match?
Just the energy, just kept going up and down that right hand side. Obviously, he's got the whole right hand side to himself. He put some cracking balls into the box that nobody was on the end of. Now, I suppose you could argue, and I've seen the argument on it that they should be picking somebody out. But I think they always, when you look at the passes, I'm more of the opinion, well, somebody should be getting on the end of them rather than
put in an area.
Like you put it in the space and somebody will run into the space rather than picking it out somebody that's maybe marked up or whatever. Some of the balls he put across the box. I think Doig on the other side to an extent wasn't far off. In spells, Cadden was consistent over the 120, whereas Doig was in and out a wee bit. But they both put some cracking balls in that you think, fuck, that's a tapping for somebody. And there just wasn't that energy and that to get on the end of them. Or whatever it was. Like, I'm not saying that there was laziness. I don't know what the reason was. The ball was better than the ball was too good to not be finished off. But I get the argument. You should be picking somebody out and you should cut it, because I think there was one where he should have cut it back and he never, and then there was one he did cut back that he shouldn't have, like within seconds each other. Aye, both times. And it was like he thought, right, if I put a fucking fire one across the box here and he can't be there, so I'll cut it back, because everybody went chanced on it. Because the thing is, if you know your full back or right midfielder's going to be doing that and firing the balls across, somebody should be sliding in at the back post or wherever it is. But then if he doesn't always do it like he didn't, then you're not going to take the chance every time, because you might overrun it like they did. So see, that it's one way or the other. I think you've got to be consistent with it. But I thought his energy was he was up and down. But he's like that all the time. He's got sort of back to full fitness and that. He's a right hard worker, and again that's probably a bit boring. It's a bit of Heart's answer, like, oh, would you like him? He's a hard worker, but he's got a nice touch and puts a good ball in the box.
Yeah. I was going to mention Joe Newell as well, Leon. So Newell took a bit of stick for us as well for the game against Celtic for always going backwards, and I think probably for a spell against Cove he started off that way, but then I think by the end of the game he was one of our most attacking players. He was kind of really driving us forward. What did you make of Newell's performance?
I thought his performance was just the same as what he usually plays, and I just didn't care if I fucking looking for somebody to start fucking moaning it again, and you've got to pick somebody for them to fucking pick out every week to say, okay, I'm talking about the football. I'm not saying I care any better than anybody else. I fucking didn't. I kind of look less than some folk, but fucking every week, man, try to find somebody to fucking pick on. So it's like, and that's genuinely what I think with the Newell thing, because Newell's a fucking great player, and I came on had the chat about him and Jake Doherty's playing together, being a bit similar, and that sometimes catches them out in that. But there was folk talking about his fucking ability as well, and I'm like, you can't question his ability, because he's one of the best passers and dribblers of the ball in their side, 100%. But he was there. But again, I think playing Cove, folk were expecting us to walk over them, and maybe that obviously breeds a lot as well, Ken. When you're not 2-3-0 up, the folks start getting a wee bit annoyed and the back pass push. But I think Maloney's want to be a possession-based team. Ken, you can see that for every game we've played. The possession's been, I think I said it last week, it was like 85% we're hitting. No in the game, but possession stats, like complete passes and stuff like that. And before it, our highest under Ross was something like 82. But he's consistently been hitting 85%, like part of complete passing and stuff like that, which is fucking mental. So I think I just like to fucking find somebody. Everybody can't play shite. There's going to be one individual stopping the team out.
Good cop it. And talking to Boo Boys, Colin, I thought the game or the momentum in the game really shifted when we brought on Murphy and Nisbet. We were round about the hour mark. I think Hibs went up in gear at that point. Now, neither of those have had their critics to seek. How do you think they got on?
I like both of them. I just think that they give. I think because they don't look like they're running fast, they get like the perception is they're lazy in that, and sometimes they don't help themselves. But certainly Nisbet. But Nisbet was busy on Thursday. He was back in midfield picking passes and took his goal well. Yeah, fairly straightforward goal, but he missed a easier one last week. So, I thought he'd done all right. Murphy, I can't remember much about, but I don't mind Murphy. Like, I'm not a heavy critic. I'm like I've heard and seen others. I think he creates chances for us when he plays. I think he links up well with Doig down the left when they play together and that as well. I don't mind Murphy. I don't mind him. I'm not saying I'm his biggest fan either, but I think he's probably overly criticised, and I'm not sure why. It's maybe the Rangers thing. I don't know. Because I don't know. I think he does get overly criticised. But Newell was after the first couple of minutes. I think the crowd maybe had a bit of a pop about him because he'd done his pass back. And we said last week that it'd be interesting to see him without Doyle Hayes, because Doyle Hayes was obviously getting rave reviews. He's much better team when Newell's not playing. But actually on Thursday, Newell was passing the ball forward a lot more, maybe got more space because he's not got Doyle Hayes right beside him all the time, or when it works ways. He put a cracking ball through for Doig that he should have scored late on in the second half. I think there was even extra time. Mm-hmm. And he showed that he can pass the ball forward. But I think we kind of need that. Surely, I've not played football at any great level, but folk know you don't need to pass the ball forward every single time you get the ball, But it doesn't sound like that. Folk moan about it all the time. But you've got to sometimes pass the ball backwards. Like, you just...
You've got to just hold on to the Boston things, You've just got to hold on to it.
I think the criticism comes to a kid, but I got frustrated with against Celtic. No cover all ground was when we were in a really good position and you could put the ball in the box or have a go. Can just take a shot, make something happen, and then 3 passes later it's back with Macy or Hamlin or whatever.
I totally agree with that. I
think that's where folk get frustrated, but I didn't really see that on Thursday night. I thought we tried to drive forward. I think it was just one of those frustrating nights. Like if we'd got an early goals, the Deutsches one. Leon, you mentioned that the referee didn't think had a good night overall, but the referee and the linesman managing to get the offside one wrong.
There was one he scored from. There was another one as well. He was onside. Similar position, same linesman.
Aye, and I think if that goes in, and gets awarded, it's a totally different night. So you've got a goal in the first half. Cove have to change how they're playing, and you can start picking them off. It just and it's not even like Kingsey, you shouldn't have to rely on referee decisions, but that's not really relying on a referee decision. Just that if they get it right, so that should be a given that they get it right.
So it wasn't even close. I didn't think it was close. When you see the back, I didn't think it was close to be like, oh, he's definitely offside. It was fucking like, I don't know what I've seen. It was like 10 years on, but it was like the ball that wasn't played that fast a pace that it was like, oh, right, he's the lines was having to change position and he's running one way and has run the other.
It was a defender. The defender came out really quickly, so he's maybe just missed that. Mm-hmm. Like because he was going at pace, the fullback or centre half. So I think that's the
one
only
going that way, one going that way. You get quite a big gap quite quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will we'll move on to some comments from our Twitter followers. We're just kind of going out to ask for some talking points, and some of these might be about Cove, some of them might be about the signings, some of them might be other stuff that's happening at Hibs. First one we've got is for Ray Forsyth, who said the recent survey that Hibs put out, do Hibs want to sell Easter Road? Will the Proclaimers change the song to Sunshine on Trent? Did you both do the survey?
Just done it this morning.
How'd you go on with it?
I've done it, aye.
Completed it. Aye. No, I done it. Good, I think so. I put a few good mentions of Longbangers in there, under other, and I gave them some points to work on, as you can imagine, and the boxes at the end. Ticket pricing was the one I was hammering them on, like to make sure what it was asking about tickets, because they even got it wrong. They even said the band in between 24 and 28 quid. You're like, 33 quid tickets have been gone for the season.
Aye,
you didn't get the banding right, because I'm saying 20's plenty and all that. Season ticket shouldn't be anywhere in 375, 380 quid, which is 20 quid times 19.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff, and how you price people out. Talk about the community, but you got to price people out by increasing tickets. If you're going to match them up to 30, even 30 quid a ticket on average, what's that? 570 quid for 19 matches. Fucking, that's got to price a lot of people out of the market. And I just put a lot of that stuff in about how they can make it better. Obviously, mentioned Kieran Power, how good the job he does in that, and the good stuff as well.
Yeah,
he's brilliant, Kieran Power.
He's excellent, and I've spoken to him a couple of times. But so I gave them positives and the negatives. But ticket prices. Is that the question? Obviously, the questions about Easter Road getting sold. I think folk overreacted to that a wee bit. Really, I think they were just wanting to see what the attachment is and how. And obviously it's got to go back as everybody wants to stay there. That I think they're just like confirming what they probably already know.
Aye, it's an interesting. Because I did it, so I'm right. I'll qualify this by saying I'm not the most cynical person in the world anyway. I'm kind of quite naive. I think we just assume folk are mean well at the best of times. But I'm looking at those questions and it's like, what's the attachment to Edinburgh and the community and then Easter Road? And I didn't ever think they're asking me this because they're wanting to take it away. I thought they just wanted to, for me, I thought it was more about marketing. Kind of like if they want to try and sell season tickets. Do you know when we did the campaign the other season? It was like, this is our home. And they had like the drone footage coming around Easter Road and everything. You're watching it and you're going, oh, that's fucking brilliant. I can't wait to get back. And I love Easter Road. I thought it's just to help them sell tickets or sell whatever, the club. But it seemed like a few folk picked it up like we were going to sell the stadium. So we actually reached out to Greg McEwen on Twitter yesterday and just asked the question. Said, we've had a few messages about it, which we had. And he categorically said, no plans. Like, it's no in conversation.
Can never afford to do that. Honestly. The folk didn't understand the cost it would take to build a fucking football stadium. The the current climate. See the cost of materials, and I'm talking on small scale, but it's it's a bit different, building huge structures and that. But honestly, you're fucking hundreds of millions of pounds, like to buy land, to build fucking stadiums. It's fortunes, and property's massive, and it would cost so much fucking uproar. They ken that anyway. They ken that the local community and that but the fucking physical fucking financial cost is mental. That it would cost to do that. There's no way. Unless if there was oil under Easter Road, fair dues, or fucking solar panel, 10 billion solar panels buried under there, whatever getting about, fair dues, but no, fucking not a chance, man. And like you say, it's sport, it's about marketing. It's about who they got to, how we're going to do this next, how we're going to push this next season ticket. Did the last one have an effect on season ticket sales? Well, our folk know that arsed about Edinburgh and the stadium. But when everybody goes back and says, oh, we love the stadium, we feel we're a part of Edinburgh, even the folk that they live in Edinburgh, but they still feel that they're part of it because that's where their club's from, and that's where they travel in the weekends to meet their pals and have drinks and that. And they'll just be, that's what it's 100%. It's always about marketing, isn't it? It's always about, that's what for me anyway.
And the thing is, there's much easier ways. If you were being properly cynical and you think, right, well, Ron Gordon, right, this isn't what I think, but if you were making the argument, say Ron Gordon's only in it to make fucking as much money and he'll bleed Hibs dry and he'll sell that land and build a stadium on the cheap, it'd be better just buying a bit of land, building it and selling the houses or whatever, the fucking office space or whatever. He's got enough money to be able to do it. So if he just wanted to make a quick buck out of property, he doesn't need a football club to do that. I just can. So anyway, no plans, and that's for the horse's mouth. No plans to sell.
It doesn't. Also, the sun's never shined in Trinent, so fucking we're not moving there. Don't worry about
that. Tony Swanson said, "Will we be complaining about referees in the future? We need to get a few refs removed as well." So, Colin, this relates to Rangers' first red card they've had in about fucking 18 months, and they've had a meeting with the fucking SFA or the SPFL, whoever they met with.
Self-awareness FC, yeah, that's like amazing that in the game where were we talking about in here? Was it? But they should have had. They should have had a penalty against them just before they scored the goal. That's the match they choose to fucking moan to the SFA. Like, what the fuck? You should have been a penalty and you shouldn't have had a goal. That would have because that was the same play. The ball hadn't been to the park. Absolutely mad that they choose that. I think it's eight different things they complained about. I can't remember what they all were, but it's like one that made the papers. So they've obviously went blabbing out there to tell everybody to make sure their fans all know and that. And then obviously they've come out now since saying Calancy's had a 2-match suspension, but they picked the referees that far in advance that he was probably due a weekend off anyway. But it's suited them right down to the ground that because it looks like they've actually done something and they've been acted on. Where anybody that knows how SFA works knows that it'd be about the 1st of February or later before you could get a referee changed.
Aye, it's mental way that well, what's mental is how the paper's positioned it to say Clancy's been dropped. And
but
I mean, I've no love for the referees. You can, like, I'm more like fuck about them, but he's not been dropped. He wasn't picked for a match anyway. In fact, he just had a game. Like he's had a game this week. I think a Scottish Cup game. So
did he? Aye. And is there a game? Has he got a game midweek, or is that the first game he's missing? Because there's games tomorrow and Wednesday, isn't there?
I think he's missing these ones. So.
But it's just that the media write what they get told to by them, otherwise, because they think they'll not sell any papers or get online clicks if they don't do what they're told. And it's what happens. It's happened for years. I mean, so Kevin Thompson tried to blame for the walking over broken glass stuff.
Siege mentality with them, they're fucking beef at it. Do them. It's like everybody's against us. Fucking getting
it's incredible.
Fucking, it's unbelievable. And like you say, it's like working somewhere. And putting that many fucking complaints in against your boss that he's like, fucking hell, I can't say nothing to this boy because you're just going to go back again and make a complaint against us again. I can't be constructive against him because he's just going to make another complaint. It's fucking.
They just pander.
And they love it. They pander the fans. They love it. That's fucking. We are the people. The Rangers. Oh, fuck off, man.
But it's bad to each other. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're as bad to each other. Like, I mean, it was the same after the cup final when we were moaning saying they just get. McGinn got a 2-match ban for basically doing what Rangers have done. But you've got to if you're going to beat Rangers or Celtic, you basically need the 2-goal start because they're going to get a penalty or a decision that every time, and it was the same in the cup final. You know, you're going, fuck's sake, we wouldn't have got that decision. We wouldn't have been able to take the quick free kick. We would, whatever else it was, or the penalty in the last minute and that. And it's because, as we say at the time, it's because I think easy life. It's easy life. I'm not saying they're cheating. It's just like. I can't be fucked getting the death threats in that this time.
So this week.
Yeah. It's nearly Christmas. Let me have Christmas in peace.
Just have the new PVC windows fitted. I'm not wanting them.
So do you think, would you like to see Hibs taking that approach and going on the offensive against refs?
But you told us a story on here that we did before that cup final. And we never read the papers about it and they shot on us for it. So it doesn't work like that. So I do it if you want, but we only get the same. We only get to drop a referee.
Talking about folks sticking up for themselves, what do you make of Maloney and his comments about Jack Ross, or Jack Ross his comments about Boyle? Leon, what did you make of that situation?
It's interesting, because you didn't know. It's like we're all thinking of it as like, I came that Jack Ross obviously left under a cloud, but it was a wee bit like they'd been there that long. You'd have been like they knew the way it was going. Nobody's happy about getting sacked. Nobody's happy about getting told they're not doing a good job or they're not doing, even if they're not. He's going to be in the media, he's going to be in the papers, he's going to be doing interviews, he's going to be doing fucking coverage because it's how he gets keeps his name out there and how he gets jobs. And it's like fucking Yogi Hughes every time he's every time he's known fucking in a job, he's working because then it keeps on folks' minds. And by good on Sean, at the end of the day, if it's been affected, if I'm not happy with the comments and it's affecting the players, he was really up coming out and saying anything about, I've spoke to Martin, I'm fucking, he's told me this, he's told me that. That's a fucking joke, because at the end of the day, this should be it's a conversation. I can guarantee you Martin Boyle wouldn't know why they're going to say that. Like, there's no danger, in my opinion, unless he's maybe wanted to move to get pushed forward a wee bit more, which you hope no, but...
Nudge it along.
But you know what I mean? You don't know.
I know what you mean, but it's an overreaction for Maloney, I think, purely because the deal was done when it was in the paper. Because he left on Friday, he didn't play on the Thursday night, it was in the paper on Thursday morning. It was done, the deal was done. Jack Ross obviously went, he'll have known because he's been speaking to Boyle, and they probably Boyle speaking to him either. I've spoken to previous managers and that I've worked with in the past. I'm not really sure why Sean Maloney was quite as upset about it, because like even the radio, I listened to the Sports Sound podcast after it, like the next day, and I thought, he didn't even need to say that. They never asked him. I don't think they did, and he just kind of came out, and you thought, aye, he kind of, it was like he went in there thinking, I'm saying this because I'm fucking raging about it, but I'm not really sure why he was raging about it. I'm not really, because I don't think there was anything really disrespectful. He just says if Hibs should let him go or something like that, which we already had. Because everybody was talking about on Thursday, that's the rumour he's away, didn't play Thursday night. It wasn't anything we never knew, and it just felt like he was making a point for the sake of making a point, to show he's strong, or he's, I don't know, strong-willed, or whatever it is he's trying to do, like stamp his authority or something. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know. I can't quite grasp making a headline. Even my dad, who doesn't give a fuck about football, asked me the night about it, and I went, total fucking mountain of a molehill. Total. Couldn't. And I thought, my dad, as I say, doesn't care about football at all. And he's heard about it and read about it and thought, what's that all about?
I mean, to be honest, I've not thought twice about it since I heard it. Again, it's like even getting asked tonight, I totally forgot about it. I forgot about even making the comment.
The interesting thing was, the interview went in on Thursday morning, and if you read the message boards, I don't know what Twitter was like, but the message boards on Thursday, folk were saying, good luck, Jack, in your next job, and all that. Nobody was bored their arse until Maloney said it, and then folk are now going, that's a fucking outrage, you said that, fucking good for you, Sean. You think nobody gave a fuck on Thursday morning?
Right.
So.
Well, anyway, just, if you're listening, Sean, don't come after us, like, we're only talking about it. We didn't mean anything bad by it, so...
Total respect to you, Sean.
Aye, total respect to you.
Sean Maloney, you know, army.
Aye, exactly. Mike said replacement for Boyle, and is Mitchell joining us? Well, Mitchell joined tonight. Replacement for Boyle. You have any thoughts on who we might bring in to replace him? Because Maloney said he did anticipate that he'd be replacing him.
What was Boyle's position in that formation? Was it in the three, or was it on the right? It was in the three up front.
In the three, aye.
So we'd be looking for a striker. We've got Melkerson, Doidge, Nisbet, Mueller. So 5 for 3 positions at the moment. I don't know if you would need to actually directly replace him, or if you would look at strengthening other places with the money, like centre half, for example. We spoke about earlier. We haven't got enough of them.
I think I think Mueller definitely looked like he could step into that role. Whether he could be as effective as Boyle remains to be seen. But I'd like to think we would sign somebody else to come in. Ewan Mackley said, negative fans, we all love a moan, but does giving dogs abuse to your team's players help? The fans need to get a grip. We self-police in the terraces to an extent, but not on social media. We've talked about that quite a bit, like that whole negative fan thing.
It's a great point, though, about the self-policing, though, because you see, you get it in the stands and you get the all. If you hear something fucking ridiculous, you turn and tell somebody, like, shut the fuck up. On social media, you can comment on that, but we could just pass the comment by. There's no get a reaction elsewhere, and sometimes you get a wee bit of backup in that, but it seems like
he's a bit more on social media and that than they do face to face as well.
I want to make a point, we'll stand by it. But I think it's a bit of a culture now, Again, like, they want to criticise, It's no praise somebody. It's what to criticise to stand out. A kind of critical comment, I'll go a bit longer, maybe get a few more likes, a few more retweets, and get a wee bit more interaction. And it's fucking draining at times, honestly. I mean, look, I'm not arsed, and I go, I went for the stage of getting round up with folk to then not getting round up to folk, but I'm now back getting round up with folk. So
back on it.
Honestly, I went full circle with it. I used to see comments and write a tweet and I just delete it and say, fuck this, I'm not reacting to this. And now I'm fucking reacting. I'm like, why am I doing it? Why am I myself fucking annoyed?
It must be demoralising though as a player, like Nisbet having to stick his fingers in his ears the other night to say I can fucking hear you, but I'm not listening, sort of thing. Newell gets it, or Doyle Hayes gets it to an extent, not as much as Newell, even though they do the same things. Macy gets it if he doesn't chuck the ball out quick enough. It's all the same ones that get picked out in the main, but it's it's contagious. I mean, it builds and builds and builds, and folk hear, oh, he's moaning at him a minute ago, I'm moaning at him the next time. You know what I mean? It's like fucking epidemic. So it's just because you could hear it on the telly the other night to an extent. Again, it was only just under, I think it was 5,800 or something. They said but you could hear the grumbles and the moans quite clearly at times. And I get it, we're 0-0 with a League Two side and that, but I don't know. Like, you're there to support the team, but folk ain't supporting it. I've paid my fucking money. I can see what I want. Well, can you?
I've never ever got my head around that. I think we've spoken about it before, but the way I look at it, see the players that go out wearing the shirt, I'm on their side. I don't really want to abuse them. Like they're the ones who are out there, and my kind of doing it for us. Well, for me, can you pay your money? You want them to do well.
I'm a nightmare. I go and try and find reasons for them making mistakes. But look, there was no pass on, so he's tried to. You know what I mean? Why am I trying to defend them? But then I didn't get the other end of the spectrum either. Like I kept focusing on then that criticise again. Whereas I didn't get why folk go out like all out to. I'll come on here or I'll speak to you or whoever else about it and say he was shite today, but I wouldn't stand and shout you're shite today.
No.
You know what I mean? It was like the boy. I think I mentioned it on here. If I never, I've got to mention it now. I think it was the Dundee United game, the 3-0 game, or no, it wasn't St Mirren when we lost a late goal to go 2-2. And there was a boy came for, I don't know how many rows back, for right over the top of the Voratorium thing, shouting at Doig, calling him all the Hertz cunts in the world. Get back to fucking Tynecastle and all that, and Yink. He's a young laddie that's no track the boy. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, calm the fuck down. Like, watch yourself, you have a heart attack.
I used to find it funny when you were at cup finals and you got beat. And it was like Celtic beat you. So you want to get fucking, kind of like years ago, like, and you get the guy for running in 20 rows to chuck his scarf on the pitch. And you'd be like, fuck off, mate. You've literally just bought that the day. You didn't come to the games every week. You became that. And he was fucking daring to make a statement to his wife or his Miss Bird that he's brought to the game because he's like, come on, we'll go to cup final. I'm a big Hibs fan. She's like, you've never been to a fucking game, you fanny. Ken. And it fucking drives me nuts. Just fucking deal with it, man. So folk are going to make mistakes, players are going to make. That's what makes the games fucking good. Ken, if it's not your player making the mistake, it's a player on that side, and that's where you get your goals from. And just fucking go on it, man. Get behind the boys, Ken.
It's because we'll take it personally, yeah. That's the thing. You get that invested in football, you take it personally. The successes and the defeats. It's like a personal insult when you fucking lose.
But then put the player on there because it is personal insults. Like, so they're taking as a personal insult. How do you think their attachment? Talk about the attachment of the fans to the club. What about the players' attachment to the club? Like, if you're getting that abuse for trying, like, it's not like you're no trying, you're trying. But things, if things haven't come off, or you pass the ball fucking backwards instead of forwards, or whatever it is, or you never chucked the ball quite quick enough, and you're getting that, you think, fuck off. That would be your reaction. Get yourselves to fuck. You know what I mean? So do we need the players to be attached to the club? Because when we were the most successful 6 years ago, they were. With Bartley and McGinn and Henderson and Cummins and all the boys, they were attached to the club. As well as the fans being attached to the club.
100%.
If the players are attached to the club, the fans will become attached to the club because it's all one big thing. And we can't quite grasp it because we lose a couple of games. We're fucking hounding folk out and just giving them dogs abuse. Just need to calm down a wee bit.
We played Barcelona at Murrayfield. Boy, next us fucked off at 3-0. He was fucking raging. Probably the best clubs, or one of the best club sides has ever been in history. But 3-0 up against us, and he was fucking livid, and he left at 3-0. Mental.
But do you think? I think, for what I read, certainly on the message boards and that, and this would apply to that what you're talking about there. Folk concern themselves with far too much with what their Hearts fans mates are saying to them.
Aye.
Yes.
Right. So they never got hammered off Barcelona, and it's like, oh, I'm going to get fucking embarrassed at work on Monday about that. And I don't know if it's the same vice versa. Like, I don't know if the Hearts fans, any of them are like that, but we seem to have an awful lot of folk that are too preoccupied with how they're going to get slagged. They'll not even. Can't even. I'm not even going to predict a win in the derby because, well, fucking end up with egg on their face. Like, well, do you think we're going to win or no? Like,
aye. The Hearts fans definitely have it as well. Mind the videos of your dug shite. That's fucking dug shite, which was hilarious. And then the don't you dare look up. Mind we beat them at times. Don't you look up. Don't you dare look up. Yes.
Well, to be fair, the other good few seasons they fucking handed them. Like when we came up to the championship and that, and they were just like stumbling for fucking one thing out of the next, and it was constant. And then they were constantly posting nonsense like that online. It was easy. It was easy then. It was brilliant.
Right, next on DJW said Melkerson apparently getting carried off the pitch during a bounce game. Is that another striker required now? So apparently he took a knock, but I think for a reading on Hibs.net earlier, it seems to have just been a knock and nothing serious. So fingers crossed that's the case. I take it you didn't need a work permit to play in bounce games and do training and that.
I think how that works. Your insurance, because you're not really working anything.
Aye, I think it works anyway because even training, even being in, walking into the training ground, and you're technically working. Settings you turn up, so it's just fucking weird. Like,
aye. Anyway, hopefully he's all right. Ricky said, "Do you even know who Hibs are?" Well, we do. We need another centre midfielder who can carry the ball, but not NFL style. Do we need another centre midfielder, do you think?
Maybe something different for what we've got.
Aye, a sort of more attacking one. But then that's maybe what Henderson's for. I know.
Mm-hmm. But I can't remember if we talked about this while we were recording or before it, but the Evening News were saying Allen and Hallberg, I think it were, are free to go. We're listening to offers for them. So that maybe indicate that another midfielder might be coming in.
Yeah. Go with James to come back as well,
Right enough.
Aye. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. We've got quite a big squad now. Like really, with the numbers, I think feels like we have. Certainly in certain positions, we've got quite a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hallberg and Allen go, or if they don't go before the window, like we'll pay them off on so they can be a free agent.
Beldam last year said potential cut banana skins got past one, or high flying, or both another.
Aye, definitely.
They're top of the championship at the moment.
Yeah, aye. Quite 4 or 5 points clear, I think. Mm-hmm. Part-time team, but the only part-time team in that league, I think. Top of the league. But then, as we mentioned there with Cove Rangers, I don't think being a part-time team, the boys will be quite fit. But I think it's guys like they've basically got the best part-time players in the country. Maybe other than McAllister and that, because they're. I don't know how much they're paying them in that, but a lot of these guys will have good jobs. No, I don't know what, fucking a lawyer or a professional or a senior manager somewhere, and they can go and just make an extra bit of, I don't know, 20 grand, 30 grand a year or whatever they would get playing. I don't know how much they get juniors, the part time. Sorry. So I think they've got a good side. They've also got a good side because they're walking that league so far. But then I'm just hoping we catch them at a time where they're starting to concentrate too much on the league because. It's going to get, you would imagine it's going to get to a point where they're going to start having suspensions and injuries, and then they're prioritising.
Yeah, apparently their home record is worse than their away record this season. They've got more points at home than have away, so maybe that bodes well for us. Well, I think it's one that we should be nervous about. Leon, do you?
No, I think we should be nervous about it. I mean, obviously, there's a reason part time, but they're clearly doing well in that league, and I think if you got a good settled side in that league, you'll always do well. And I think there's been a lot of teams in that league this year that have had the managers have changed quite recently, and whereas they've had a right settled side, they've got a few like really good players. Like they have like the boy Mikey McKenna. I sort of ken him. I don't know him personally. I've actually played football with him when he was a lad. He played amateurs, whereas when he was like fucking young as anything, and he shouldn't have been. It was like pub league, and he shouldn't have been playing with us, but he was phenomenal. Yeah, he actually scored a fucking raker against us for Livingston. The game that the keeper scored for us.
Oxley.
Aye, so he scored that, and we beat Livingston 2-1. We started off quite strong, and then they came back in and he scored a fucking raker, Mike McKenna. He's a really, really good player. And they've got a great side, but at the end of the day, fucking full internationals on their side, eh? And again, it's not easy just saying that, but I think the quality should show through in the end. But
that's not how it works, eh? I mean, look, Arsenal got packed off in Nottingham Forest and all that, didn't they? If you kept it in the road, it does happen. We just need a bit. If we turn up and play as well as we can play, then we should beat them. But that's not how it works. They'll try and make it uncomfortable for us and cold water in the fucking changing rooms and all that shite. Need out all the old school stuff because it's old school manager, isn't it? So it's got to be all grass is too long and fucking all that stuff. So it's just. Aye. We should beat them, but we shouldn't be thinking like last week when we were saying 4s and 5-0s and that. We shouldn't be thinking anything like that.
Oh.
Vince Robinson said Maloney's square goal with Jackass Ross, so we could have covered that. Dave Graham, how does Barrows fit into Sean Maloney's team? Dave's really, really desperate to get this Barrows nickname to stick, but I think Dave's the only person I've seen using it. Doyle Hayes is the double-barrelled name, you see. Jake Doyle Hayes. Barrows, Dave's persevered with this one despite the ridicule for the WhatsApp group.
It's terrible.
All the rest of it. He's stuck with it. Fair play to you, Dave. But
perseverance.
Aye. Does Jake Doyle Hayes fit into Sean Maloney's team? Go on.
I think it does if Neil's not playing and vice versa. I think it's one or the other. You do. I think it'd be interesting to see both. now that I said last week, it'd be interesting to see Neil playing with Doyle Hayes, but it'll be interesting to see them both play together again and see if they both try and play the ball forward, or if they revert to passing it back and forward to each other. The one that I think Neil's a better player than Doyle Hayes. One, because he's a friend of the podcast. Two, because I think he's a better football player. But because Doyle Hayes had a tendency to actually pass the ball sideways and run towards the guy who passed the ball. Like, you guys fucking way. But I don't know if they could both play and go forward the way, because they did at the start of the season. We said that they played in the same team against came on at Motherwell. They played against Ross County in the first few games of the season, and we were playing decent stuff, contrary to revised opinions since the previous manager left. In the first few games, we were playing all right stuff with those two in the team. Yeah. So they can play together, and now that they've obviously been given the instruction, pass it forward more often than you pass it back. Maybe they could. Maybe they're both improved by that. But otherwise, it's one or the other for me.
Yeah. Kaiser supposed to say Mueller's first touch. First touch was
beautiful.
150k on Hanlon Hill. Why have Hibs not got a food option available called a Matty Jack roll, which would be a foot-long German sausage?
Do it.
Aye.
If I posted that earlier, I'd have put that in my. I'd filled that out in my survey thing.
On the survey.
Yes.
You just go fill it in again, eh?
I'll just clear my cookies. I clear my cookies all the time anyway, so I'll put back on.
Good practice to be in, Leon.
Yes.
Browser history, cookies,
why do you do that, Leon?
It's for my. If I didn't do very good at Wordle, I'll get to start again.
That's fair took off that Wordle. Everybody's playing that.
I like it.
I just started it yesterday.
Thing is, I'm doing it half the time. I'm doing it like fucking 7 a.m, still half asleep, and I'm like, and the word's like basic as anything. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Getting like, I've been saying to myself, I'm going to start doing it at lunchtime and see if I can be a bit sharper, but it's brilliant. I like it. It's good.
My best on it so far has been second attempt. Go to the second attempt.
Second?
Aye.
I've got
I guess it's second attempt then, isn't it? Still guessing.
First gen. If you get like a good first gen, and you get like 3 greens, it can just be pure luck, and then you can like guess it. That's what I've had a couple of times. It's a fluke. It's a fluke, really.
It's a skill.
It's a fucking fluke.
I tell you, if there's one thing I know, it's 5-letter words. Right. So.
There's a program at ITV in the afternoons that have been doing this for years, like well over a year. What's it called? Lingo. Aye. It's the boy that does the Citizen Can, the guy that he does it. He presents it. They do 4-letter, 5-letter words, 6-letter word ones. I didn't realise it was an actual. When the folk were talking about Wordle, it was just that.
Since I started doing that work, I was watching it. I started shouting at the telly, like proper shouting at the telly, getting frustrated in that. But obviously, I'm sitting doing mine in the morning, sitting on the toilet, taking 25 minutes to fucking find 3 letters.
Pins and needles.
These folk have got 10 seconds on the countdown clock, and I'm fucking shouting at them.
Do you mind the game Mastermind when you were? I think this maybe before your time. We're a bit older than you, but
still on the telly at Christmas usually.
No Mastermind with Magnus Magnuson. Mastermind, it was like a brown tray, and you had coloured pegs, right? And basically, what you would do is you would put a combination of colours at one end of it, and another person playing had to guess what that combination of colours were, and it was the same kind of thing. You'd say, you've got 2 right and in the right place, and 2 wrong, and so by the time you got to the top of the board, you had to guess the. It's the same principle, but rather than once. That's what I was like. Oh fuck! I used to love that game. That's how I can get second guess and work the way. See if it was colours, I'd be fucking smashed.
Yes,
No bother. How did we get to that for fucking foot-long sausages?
Including his cookies.
Because
he's looking at too many foot-long sausages. So he closed his cookies.
Was it Fattest Prickus in a foot-long pig and blanket? Or kilted sausage, kind of depends on what you want to call it, at Christmas time. A fucking great idea that is. James Lumsden said we need McGuinness fit, definitely. Mel Clements, we've had 3 cracking strips this season. Which has looked best out on the pitch? What's your preference?
Yellow and green, all day. Yellow top, green shorts, fucking amazing.
That did look smart, but I like the all white one. Mind the Motherwell when they came out in the first game of the season.
Looks superb.
Real Madrid run right here.
Because it was a lovely day. A lovely day. It made all the difference. They've been going this season. They've said that before, but honestly, they've absolutely hit it brilliant this year. Brilliant strips this year.
Spot on. I got the away one at Christmas time. I'd already had the home one, got the away at Christmas. It's banging. I've got the yellow one yet. I'll need to pick that up. Last question for Neil Renton. And to keep this for short bangers, but we'll fire into this one now. What things did you say when you were younger that you regret now? Obviously, in reaction to Mitchell's video.
Which start?
And you kind of have I do.
We were talking about all the bad chants in the group chat. I'm not saying none of them.
Tons of them. I can think of that. See about the things that came out with pish that you used to get involved with.
That last week, or when you're younger, does that count?
Anytime. You're still younger last week, weren't you?
Exactly. So.
Well, keep it for short bangers.
I'm not admitting. No. Score that question out.
Pretend it never happened. That's us almost at the end. Actually, just before we go, we've got Motherwell on Wednesday night. Leon, how do you see that going?
It'll be a hard game, I think. Obviously, them losing Tony Watt's a big blow for them. But need to get 3 points to keep ticking over and getting them back, pushing up. So chasing Hearts, essentially, that's where I want to be. So I 2-1 Hibs. I think quite fancy us for a win, but a tough game, right?
You, Paul?
I think they're struggling a bit. They've lost Watt, and they're maybe on a bit. I think they struggled through in the cup at the weekend. They were losing quite late on the match, so we'll have loads of the ball. 1-0 Hibs.
I could be a tough. I'll take that. I think we'll draw 1 each.
98% possession and 1 each.
100% pass completion rate. I just before we wrap up, I just got a message there for the missus, tagging me in something or sharing Fife Police Division. We've had reports in Fife of people receiving a WhatsApp message from a random number claiming to be the son or daughter who's using a friend's phone. I had that yesterday. I was sitting with my son at my mother-in-law's, and it came through. It says, "Dad, I've dropped my phone in the sink, and don't worry, it's insured, but save this number down for me." So I was going, well, my daughters wouldn't have said about the insurance and that, because they wouldn't think about whether their phone was insured, didn't be bothered their arse. and kind of wasn't Josh because he was fucking sitting over for me farting about his phone. So I put, which one is this? And they went, the first. So I went, Dave. I went, yeah. So
Amazing.
that's a nightmare, mate. And they said, I've lost all my photos and videos. I says, oh, that's a disaster. You'll have lost your first date photo with Graham. And they went like a wee sad crying face. I was like, oh, Graham will give you it anyway. And they said, are you busy? I said, aye, always busy. I said, at the moment I'm balls deep in your maw. And then they never replied to anything after that. So I was like, Dave, are you all right? And since I might follow up. Mental, eh?
You know.
Aye, so didn't fall for Facebook's for WhatsApp scammers. That's the message of the podcast tonight. I can't find out what to call the podcast Ball Deep in Your Maw, whether that's an acceptable title to have for a
you might get as many hits as you could have with that. What was it tie-in? What was the
South Korean sex dolls?
Oh, that was phenomenal. Did you not get like fucking 500 views or something on Facebook?
On YouTube it's more than that. I think it's fucking hell. Right, I don't tell you that now. Always, it makes me laugh because I always just think how disappointed they would be. Kind of that's like the put in your search, and you're like, oh, what are these boys doing? And like, oh,
choosers under ankles.
Aye, 946 views.
Amazing, eh? It's fucking brilliant. At what point do you think to turn off and says this definitely isn't a South Korean sex dolls?
Probably when they finish. Kind of. I've started anyway, so that's
back to mastermind.
Quite far into it because I don't think that's definitely your stereotypical challenge and wank, isn't it? Like us sitting talking about Hibs. My old man always says that's the funniest episode Longbangers have ever done. If anybody wants to go back and listen to it, I think we did.
I've done that. I've done that a couple of months ago, mind. I wasn't doing it then. It was Brian and that was on it. Okay.
I think we had the sad music on for Hearts fans and letters and everything.
Brilliant.
I need to go back to those days at some point. Anyway, right, we're roughly that's us out of time for the night. We've got coming out this week. Short Bangers on Thursday. We might do a wee review of the Motherwell game as well, since that'll have been on the Wednesday night. We were going to have Heat Bangers on Sunday, but we just had a wee bit a problem with availability, so that didn't happen. This Sunday we've got a guest lined up for that, which should be Sam Delaney off the Top Flight Time Machine and various publications. So assuming that goes ahead, then we'll have that on Sunday as well, so watch out for that. It'll be a good episode. Until then, get your questions in for Short Bangers. We'll go through them all, and we'll see you next time. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.